Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome into your reading for the first half of October, where we'll be taking a look at jobs and careers, love and relationships, and then life path and mission. So before we jump in there, we're going to take a look at one of our crystal cards to see what crystal the Divine Spirit is encouraging you to work with for the first half of this month. So let's take a look at that. Healing generational patterns. So most of what I have in here is crystals, but then there's a few cards like this. So this would be using whatever crystal you're most comfortable with and working on healing some of these generational issues. So looking at things like leadership, action, and stamina, because it does take a lot of action and leadership to be able to heal some of those generational patterns and issues. So that's kind of that ancestral trauma that's embedded in your DNA. Maybe your family history has always been, I'll pick something. They've always been farmers, but that's not what you want to do. You want to move to a bigger city and do something else. Or maybe they've always been doctors or lawyers and you want to be an artist. Or there might be ideas about, how things go in relationships, like what type of a partner you should have, or if you're not happy, can you get a divorce or not? So those are the types of generational patterns that you're looking at trying to heal, and that the universe is inspiring you to try to heal. So we'll go ahead and start off. Before we jump into those specific areas that I had mentioned, we'll pull a few cards that are the overall energy read for you for the first half of the month. There are some big things happening in the first half. The major one being there's a solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. So I will be doing another reading as we get closer to time where we're looking at that eclipse energy and some quick little messages for each of the zodiac signs there. But that solar eclipse in Libra, it's really about inspiring us to reflect on our relationships and to practice self-love to heal some of these emotional wounds. So it's finding that balance between loving and supporting your partner, but loving and supporting yourself and making sure that you are balanced in that perspective. It's also a time to look at meditating, journaling, grounding yourself, whether that's going for walks, whether that's, soaking in the tub, walking along the beach, sitting outside, listening to the birds, things like that. So, all right, let's take a look at a few cards. First, we have the Six of Swords in reverse. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So, all right, Sagittarius, let's take a look at this. Our Six of Swords in reverse energy, that's that sense of like resisting positive change and that you're feeling stuck. And that goes along with, this Wheel of Fortune in reverse is kind of about like bad luck and misfortunes. But that type of energy, it's you're feeling stuck. There are some positive changes that can happen, but you're feeling like everything's bad luck, everything's delayed, everything has setbacks to it. And then with this Nine of Pentacles energy, this is kind of that independence energy and self-reliance. So it's almost more of that secluded type of energy. Like you feel like you can't rely on other people. So you feel like you're kind of there on your own. So with that sense of feeling like you're kind of stuck, like this independence, that's almost like you feel like things aren't working out for you. It's all this bad luck, like whatever you were hoping somebody else was going to come through for you, or the universe. So it's almost that sense of like, I can't count on anybody but myself. Fine, I'm doing this on my own. So that's the type of feel that those cards are having for the first half of October. So let's see if we can get some more detail or insight as to which areas specifically that might be coming from and maybe what to do about that. So a few other things that are happening in the first half of the month. Pluto goes direct on the 10th, and we still do have the rest of the retrograde still there: Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, Jupiter. So there's still a lot of that retrograde energy going on. We also do on the 12th have Mars is entering Scorpio, and Scorpio is that passionate, intense, kind of relentless sign. So this is about like using that energy to come back from defeat, or using your will to create change type of scenario. So let's take a look at what is going on job and career wise. In the recent past, we have Eight of Wands currently sitting in the death energy, and the next level is the Tower in reverse. So the Eight of Wands energy is actually, it's kind of that like speed and progress type of energy, kind of that fast moving energy, but it has led you to be in this place of transformation, like you're closing out old cycles. Maybe there was some bad luck associated with it, but it seems like that's kind of happened quickly. So it hasn't been this slow, long, drawn out thing that's brought you to this energy, this death energy. But then you have the Tower in reverse as your next level of energy. So it's almost like all of the sudden some transformation is starting, you're realizing it, and it's, kind of this closing out of an old cycle or karmic lesson, soul contract type of thing that's closing out, but you're resisting it. You have a fear of letting go. You're delaying the inevitable because it's gonna happen, but it's like you're starting to see it and you're clinging really, really tightly to that. So that's something that's, to be mindful of. Let's see timing wise when it looks like that is going to be ending. Like, when is that actually going to come to conclusion there? It's saying not in the foreseeable future. So, this kind of indicates that, you see that it needs to happen, but you're holding on for dear life and you're not going to let it change. Like almost that stubborn energy, of feeling like, hey, things aren't going well. They're not going in my favor, but gosh darn it, I am holding on and I'm going to keep this on track if it kills me. Like almost that type of energy. So that's something to be mindful of. Let's see what other messages come through for you from Spirit on this, because that seems to be, overall, that's not going to be a good scenario for you. It's going to be a very draining. Okay, so the two cards that came out, it was the Nine of Cups in reverse and the Three of Wands. So your Three of Wands energy is kind of that travel and freedom and growth type of perspective. Your Nine of Cups in reverse is feeling unfulfilled and disappointed. So almost like, you're trying to cling on to something, and then you kind of get that wave of, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna try to spread my wings. I'm gonna try to travel, but you're disappointed. And I would say it's because energetically you're still stuck here. So it's a matter of how do we look at moving past that? And some of this clinging to dear life type of perspective could be coming from this generational pattern. So like I talked about before we started looking at the cards, was that idea of, is there a certain family business that you've had that sense of, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. And maybe it's not specifically that your family owns a business, but maybe it's that everyone in your family does this. Everyone chooses this type of a path. Everyone moves in this direction. And, you recognize the need to change, but there's all of these pressures on you to conform to what your family has been telling you you're supposed to be doing. And some of it could even be a difference of, it may not be super, industry specific. It could be that whole thing of, no, you have a job, it pays well, you need to stay there. Like, why in the world would you quit a job that pays well so that you could travel the world and see what else is out there? It could be that type of belief system. So it may not necessarily be a specific career choice or job choice. All right, let's take a look at what is coming up relationship wise for you. So this is for love and relationships. In the recent past, we have Temperance in reverse, currently sitting in the Sun energy, with Page of Wands in reverse as your kind of next level of energy. So Temperance in reverse is, there's kind of this sense of imbalance within your relationships, or like avoidance and kind of ignorance. So you're not really seeing eye to eye, but you're avoiding talking about it. You're avoiding dealing with it. So that's kind of putting you into this imbalanced state. But your current energy is the Sun. So you have this optimistic type of energy. So almost like maybe you don't think that it's a very big deal. That, okay, fine, we're not seeing eye to eye. I'm still going to sit here and be happy. But then your next level of energy, this Page of Wands in reverse that's coming in, is this like dull, indecisive energy. Like you don't really know what direction to go. So it's almost as if, yes, you're sitting here kind of like having this feeling of, oh, all is well and things are fine in the relationship, even though you know that there are some imbalances there and you know that you're avoiding some of the problems. But that is going to lead to sort of this like dull or indecisive energy. But let's see what comes after that. Like if this is just kind of a brief little phase. So let's take a look at what's happening closer towards the end of the year, like in the next 2 months, for example. I'll pull 2 cards for that. So we have the Magician and we have the Two of Wands. So the Magician energy is about transforming lead into gold. And so it's transforming those, like that maybe negative or stale energy or directionless energy, and changing it to go in a good direction. Then your Two of Wands, this is that personal power and kind of that decision-making energy. So it's almost like you didn't really think it was a big deal because you're sitting pretty, but then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, what direction are we going? But you find your direction. You find what direction you need to go, and you're able to transform that situation. So that's a good sign that it looks like that part kind of got back on track, maybe a little bit more easily or quickly than it looks like things are going from a job perspective. And let's take a look at our life path and mission and see what's coming up there for you. All right. In the recent past, we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse, currently sitting in King of Wands in reverse, with Knight of Swords in reverse as the next level of energy. So with your Two of Pentacles in reverse, that's that feeling of, being unorganized. Like there's just too many balls in the air. You don't really know, when you talk about what is your life path, what is your mission, it's almost like it's this hodgepodge of, well, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this. And I would say some of that is probably tied to the fact, if there's these generational patterns, like that there's some beliefs of what you thought your life path was is being influenced by whatever these generational patterns are. And that's kind of, I guess, warring a little bit with what you feel deep down inside. This King of Wands in reverse energy is kind of this impulsive type of energy of, okay, well, let's just get it done. I want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this. And I don't really care what anybody else thinks. The next level of energy coming in is this, the Knight of Swords in reverse is kind of about some missed opportunities or like a lack of focus or direction. So it's almost like you got frustrated with feeling like there's too many balls in the air. You don't like that feeling. So fine, this is what we're doing, moving forward. I'm going down this path. But then it leaves you, as that scenario plays out, it leaves you with this sense of there were some missed opportunities and you were kind of lacking some of that focus that you needed, and you don't really know what direction you're going because it didn't really, that full steam ahead didn't really get you where you thought it was going to get you. So let's take a look and see if there's any other messages coming through for you about your life path and mission. Pull a couple of cards. So you've got your Five of Cups in reverse and Knight of Pentacles. So this is like this hard work and patience, and your Five of Cups in reverse is feeling like you're turning the corner and finally gaining some acceptance. So it does look like you're able to get that sense of, okay, this is the path I'm on, maybe acceptance by other people that are important to you. Let's take a look at our timeline, our time frames as to when we think that part of it is going to come in and happen. It might be a little bit longer than you think. So it's not something like, oh, I'm just going to meditate on this for the next couple of days and then boom, everything happens, especially if it's a matter of needing to heal generational issues, maybe past life issues or issues from earlier in this life. And so it's going to take a little bit longer than you think, but have that perseverance, have that sense of, yes, this is going to happen. I need to put in the hard work, but it will pay off because it's showing that it will pay off. It might just take a little bit longer than you think. So go into it with your eyes open, that this isn't like a, hey, I'm just going to work on manifesting for the next couple of days and then boom, all of a sudden everything happens. Because that's generally not the way it works. All right. Reflection, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. So this is one of those things. Neptune is still in retrograde until December 6th, and that is all about confronting illusions. So some of it is this illusion here of, there's too many balls in the air, I need to just do something. You need to be able to see what these potential paths are and see them for what they really are. Because in this card with this distortion, you have one, you have the moon up there, but then in the reflection, you've got two, which, is not the case. There's only one. So you need to be able to reflect on that and really see the situation for what it is. And the same is true up here. So remember, nothing is set in stone. So even this, when it's saying not in the foreseeable future in terms of changing some of this pattern, this is, the energies, if left to where they are in the exact present moment, yeah, it's gonna take a long time for this to resolve. But if you're aware of what some of those energetic pushes and pulls are, and you're aware of what this cycle is, you can break it a lot more quickly. So awareness and mindfulness of a situation is very important in having a change actually come through the way you want it to better your life. So, these readings aren't to be taken as I'm just going to sit back and do nothing because this is going to happen or that's going to happen. It's, here's the energies that are in play so that I know how to respond accordingly. And it's kind of the whole thing of, like if you were wanting to plant a garden outside and you check the Farmer's Almanac and it says, this is going to be the hottest, driest summer on record for the last 50 years. That doesn't mean you can't plant a garden. It means that you need to make other arrangements or other considerations. Maybe you need to find a way to put it in a slightly shadier spot in your yard. You need to make sure to water it more regularly. So it's not that you can't do it. It's that you need to be mindful of it. And it's the same thing here, that this is the overall energy, but your changing behavior, your changing attitude will affect this. All right. So your light worker card is Inner Temple, Devotion, Tune into the portal of your heart. So this one is really important as we look at talking about generational patterns, because typically those are ones that have to do with a lot of duty and obligation. Sometimes the generational patterns might be if you say alcoholism or drug addiction runs in your family, healing those patterns. So that's one type of pattern to heal. But the way it was really coming across today for me was it's more like family expectations and duties and obligations, like that sort of thing. So the key to that is in your meditation, your inner temple, tune into your own heart. What do you want to do? All right. Sacred Creator. And it says, welcome the divine masculine. So some of this, the divine masculine energy is more of that taking action. It's that leadership energy, kind of that stamina. So this one goes really hand in hand with this healing type of card, because typically what's going to be required of you, in order to move past some of these things is you have to be strong enough to take a stand and say, this is what I want in my life. So it's not necessarily the most effective to come at it purely from a heart standpoint. Like you have to have more bite behind it than that usually when you're changing something that's been in place for a long period of time, because people tend to be a little bit more resistant to that. The easiest thing for somebody to do is nothing at all. Like when you're trying to change something, it takes more energy, more effort. So welcome the divine masculine. Allow that to come in, because otherwise it's going to be longer than you think. And this energetically here, when it's tuned into the portal of your heart, figure out what it is that you want and then use that divine masculine energy to go after it and go get it. So I hope today's message has been helpful for you. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. I do have a number of videos that will be coming out within the next week. And then a little bit after that, there will be the special one about the eclipse. So if you want to be alerted as to when new videos post, make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time, bye-bye.